I know for many of the parents that I work with, becoming a more calmer parent is on their list of priorities. And I love this goal because it places less of the focus on trying to control and fix our kids and instead calls us to focus more on what we can control, which is ourselves and our own reactions, our own decisions and choices as parents. Now, let's be real though, managing our triggers in the moment is a lot easier said than done, and we're not always going to get this right? There's no such thing as a perfect parent. Now, in my last episode, I talked about 3 of the most common reasons why parents get angry at their kids in the first place. And now in this episode, I want to share a step-by-step action plan for how to handle your parenting triggers in the moment, especially when you're around your kids. So let's discuss. Step number 1, and this may seem very obvious and like, well, duh. But it is so important because oftentimes we react before we even realize that we're angry. So step number 1 is to draw more awareness to how you're feeling in the moment. And really, your awareness as a parent is really your number 1 superpower. So what you want to do is start to become aware of how your body is feeling, because oftentimes, before it even registers psychologically, our body will give us cues that we're feeling triggered in the first place. So our heart will start to race. We might get sweaty. We might start having these racing thoughts. We might feel tense. There's, different cues that our bodies will give us, and we're all different in the ways in which our emotions manifest in our body. But if we can draw more awareness to how we're feeling in the moment, we are going to be better able to intervene. And I know this feels like, well, duh, Dr. Jasmine, like, of course I have to become more aware. And I am aware I am angry, right? I am aware that I'm in the moment, I'm angry. But oftentimes, if you'll start to notice your pattern, what happens is we have an emotion, which our body sends us cues, and we have this emotion, and then we react on impulse, right? And we start yelling and we start dishing out threats and punishments before we even realize what's happening. And then we're like, oh shoot, I regret saying it. Why did I say it like that? And now your kid is crying and now you're feeling like the worst parent ever. So the more that we can draw more awareness to how we're feeling, will bring us more clarity in the moment on how to best respond, right? Because we can't change something if we're not first aware of it. And so I would say you want to practice cultivating more awareness during those times that you are calm and present and engaged or just neutral, and also those times that you're feeling angry and upset. How does your body react physiologically? What are the cues that it sends you? Mindfulness is a wonderful practice to help cultivate more of this awareness. And keep in mind, with mindfulness, I know it's a big word and you're like, I don't have time to sit down and meditate. It's not just about meditating. You can practice mindfulness literally anywhere. You can practice mindfulness while you're driving. You can practice mindfulness while you're taking a shower, while you're cooking, while you're playing with your kids. You can literally practice mindfulness anywhere, and it's all about just drawing your attention to the present moment, because a lot of the times our minds are either on the past or they're in the future. It's easy for our minds to be everywhere except in the present moment right now. So when you're practicing mindfulness, you're bringing your attention back to the present moment without judgment and just simply noticing the thoughts, noticing what's around you and the experience that you're having. And like I said, you can literally do this at any moment. You can draw more mindfulness. And so the more that you practice mindfulness, again, when you are in a positive state, when you're in a neutral state, as well as when you're in an activated and experiencing an intense emotion like anger, right? All of those different states, the more you can practice that awareness, the better able you're going to be at managing your parenting triggers overall. Step number 2, and again, this might feel a little obvious or like this is a lot easier said than done, but step number 2, when you notice that you're getting triggered in the moment, again, step 1 is all about cultivating that awareness. When you're like, okay, I am triggered. It's happening. I'm getting angry. I feel myself becoming upset. Step number 2 is to pause. Okay, and anger is one of those emotions that's going to tell you to do everything except pause, right? Those alarm bells are going to be going off in your brain, and it's basically sending you the message that there's a threat, whether there is a real threat or a perceived threat. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about those moments where it really is an emergency and you need to respond to keep everybody safe. But a lot of the times, most parenting situations are not emergencies, even though they feel like they are. And so everything in your body and in your mind is going to tell you it's not safe to pause. I have to deal with this right then and there. And so very often we fall into a pattern where we're trying to just power through moments, right? We're just trying to get through the moment. But that rarely works, right? And we end up losing our cool and yelling and getting frustrated and dishing out punishments and doing all the things that we hate when we try to power through. So instead, my invitation to you is, when you notice that you're getting triggered, to simply pause. Take a beat. Okay? You can't change your reaction. You can't try to calm yourself down if you first don't pause. And this can be quick. Right? This can be a quick step back, but it's an intentional pause. Okay, right now, I'm going to pause. I'm feeling upset right now. I'm feeling myself getting triggered. My heart is racing. Whatever it is that you notice in the moment, right? Things are starting to speed up. I'm having racing thoughts. I need to pause. So giving yourself permission to pause is so important in this process. And I promise you, your future self will thank you for it. Step number 3, after you pause, is to make a conscious choice. Now, what this choice has to do with is choosing calm, choosing love, choosing to pause in this moment. And so you can tell yourself, you can use a mantra like, right now in this moment, I am pausing. I am choosing love. I am choosing calm. I know things feel very chaotic right now, but I am in control, and I am going to be the most intentional, calmer parent when I take some time to calm down. And this has to be really a conscious choice. This, again, anger is so reactive, right? And it's so focused on protecting ourselves and getting aggressive and defending ourselves against threat. And so we have to make a conscious choice when we feel very angry and upset at our kids or our partner or whoever it is, to choose something different, right? To say to ourselves, I am safe right now. I am okay. I can choose calm. I can choose love. I choose love. And this really has to be a conscious choice. There's no other way around it to combat that reactivity. Now, it's very simple, right? If you haven't noticed, this 3-step process is simple. But there's no real shortcuts to this, right? Although it is simple, it takes a lot of work in the moment. Again, when we are feeling activated, our body's going to tell us to do everything but stay calm. And if you listened into my last episode on common reasons why parents get angry at their kids in the first place, a lot of it has to do with our interpretations. The meaning that we make from our child's behavior or lack of behavior, right? The things that we feel like they are doing or not doing in the right way, right? Or how they're supposed to be, right? So a lot of this has to do with our own thinking and our own interpretations and perspective, right? Deep down, we want something to be different in this moment, and our anger stems from that, right? This is not right. This should be different. They should be behaving differently, right? And now I feel out of control, and now I feel like I need to be angry, or my anger is justified so that I can take control, so that I can rein everybody in, right? And so to combat these feelings, which are very normal feelings and universal feelings, to combat all of this and to combat this whole process, is to pause and make a conscious choice to choose patience. I really feel like patience is a choice that we have to make moment to moment. It's not something that we can just wish for. It's something that we have to actively choose and make a conscious effort to be patient in the moment. And so it starts with growing awareness, pausing in the moment, and then having some kind of mantra that brings us back to our core values as parents, right? Which is to love our kids. I know that we all love our kids and we all mean well. And there's so much really to say about calm parenting. But what I will say is, again, going back to our perspective really is everything. One of the things that I've been personally struggling with as we're adjusting to our new morning routine and to my kids going to school is this idea around cultivating more patience when it comes to the mornings, and really managing my deep fear and anxiety around time and getting to things on time. That's a big one for me. And so I am choosing to perceive this season as growth opportunities for me, right? That this is an area of weakness for me as a parent and a person in general, is just all my anxiety around these things, and that this is calling me to grow. And I am trying to look at the situations different and trying to really value and come home to how sacred this time is with my girls in the moment. And I'm finding that the more that I'm trying to cultivate more presence and cultivate more connection with my little ones during this time, the better I am able to be a calmer parent. And, this really is a muscle that gets stronger over time as we practice it, right? Again, we're not always going to get this right. None of us are perfect, calm parents all the time. And even the most perfect, calm parent will yell and lose their cool every once in a while. And so we're not going to get this perfect. And a lot of this process has to do with giving ourselves grace. But the beautiful thing is that as we practice this more and more every day intentionally, and we make that choice to be a more calm, conscious parent, one, the better able we are to do this, right? It takes practice, and the more we practice, the better we are at it. But also, two, it's such a wonderful thing to model for our kids, right? Model both our mess ups, but also us choosing calm, right? And, transforming before their very eyes. That's how they're going to learn how to manage their own anger and their own anxiety and all their other intense emotions that we all experience, right? We're all learning this together. So it really is a parallel process, if you will. Now, if you want a deeper dive into all of this, especially, how to become a more calmer parent, because again, there is so much to say about this topic, and I'm really passionate about this topic because it's something that we're all working on, and I think it's one of our top priorities as parents. Definitely download my free guide, which is my simple guide to becoming a calmer parent. I share more checklists and scripts and step-by-step action plans you can take in the moment when you find yourself angry at your kids and about to lose it. So definitely check that out. Again, it's free, and you can go to themomspsychologist.com/calm parenting to download that free guide. That's all I have for this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.